Morning, everybody. At that time again where I don't have reception, and I actually have something downloaded I could listen to. Don't feel like listening to it right now. I do feel like making a video. I do feel like I want to communicate something out to folks. I don't know whether or not I trust in God that the right people will hear whatever we have to discuss today. Just a update from yesterday. Yesterday's, vlog post didn't really have a title because it was just more or less rambling. I was talking about, I was a little nervous getting ready for a Levaya. Baruch Hashem, I think it went very well. Now, from a religious standpoint, I don't know. I kind of feel guilty. But I gave the family what they wanted. I didn't impose on them what I wanted. And one thing I just don't do. I don't have people tear kriya unless they're frum or traditional. If they're traditional, conservative, but people who are totally divorced from Yiddishkeit, I don't know if it's my job. I know there are other Rabbanim. I heard that, someone who I look up to tremendously, someone who he made my wife for Eid. He's like a shtickle like Mashver, in a way, because he brought my wife's Yiddish neshama into this world. Repaired Steinberg. I heard stories that he would just go, and Shlita should be well. And, he would just go and go up to ladies with a knife with their fanciest outfits on at the funeral, and just go cut their clothes and have them tear kriya, and didn't think twice about it. I don't know. I'm not that type of guy. I don't know. I'm not that brave. But I feel certain guilt about that. Why? But it's. I don't feel it's my job to guide people through. I'll tell you, my Rav, he told me. Encounters he had with another local Rav, someone who I have a shaykhus with. I've had a shaykhus with him before. My Rav, and someone who used to be a Rav in the community. He still lives in the community and sits and learns in kollel all day in the county, in the general area. And this Rav told my Rav, who's many years his senior, one thing, whatever, he took a levaya that probably by right should have been his, should have been my Rav should have had that, that parnasa, whatever, and whatever, this other Rav took it, and then he said to my Rav, the chutzpah to say to my Rav, I feel that I could have explained the halachic implications of Avelus better than you. Now, first of all, this other Rav is a nice person. I like him, but he's not such a good speaker. Not like my Rav. He's not as talented. He's much different type of person. All right, maybe he could explain the halachic implications. I like the idea of modern orthodoxy, but when it becomes this cold halachic man idea that's devoid of spirituality, which J.B. Soloveitchik wasn't devoid of spirituality. He had spirituality in his life, but it was a cold and calculated spirituality also. I don't know. I don't think this Rav learned in YU. I know he learned in Denver, and I don't know what his background is. I don't know much about him, but whatever it is, it strikes me as you know, how do you find the right words to say? You know, because sometimes when you talk about halachic things, it offends people, and you can't offend someone at their relatives, their parents, whatever, their funeral. You can't do that. You know, even my Rav, he kind of admits that the mistake he made once. He was but although his sentiment was in the right place, but he talks about how he was at a levaya, and they didn't have the nifter, the one who passed away, the funeral, did not have any direct relatives, only more distant relatives. So no brothers, sisters, parents, children, or spouse. Only nieces and nephews, cousins. So therefore, there was nobody who was chayav to tear kriya for him, and he said, "Oh, what a tragedy is that here's a man who passed away with no one to rend their garments for him." What he meant was that halachically he had no such relatives who were obligated in rending their garments. So the niece said, "Oh, you think we don't love our uncle that much that we won't tear our clothes for him?" And the other one said, "Oh, you have to understand, you know, clothes these days are so expensive, you know." And that's not what he was trying to communicate. And there are many cases like this where people have, and they were very upset at him, and they never called him again. They specifically said they didn't want to have anything to do with him again after that. They were so offended. And I know I've made mistakes like that in my rabbinical career as well. And I don't want to be open and honest about that. And the thing is, you know, we have to find, you know, it's difficult. But I did a very liberal funeral. It's funny. I was talking to someone there, and we were talking about different synagogues in the area, mostly the Reform synagogues in the area, and I said, "Oh, and so-and-so, you know, they were involved in this." So I said, "Oh, I know a particular person who I have a lot of respect for, and his family was involved in a particular temple, and they're not anymore, but whatever." And I said, I have so much respect for this individual. I know he's probably watching the video. And I don't know why I said that. I don't know why I was even talking. You shouldn't talk about other people. I'm talking in a positive way. Someone who I respect very much. And then this old guy who I was talking to, I don't remember who he was. I don't remember. And he said, "Oh, that guy, he's to the right of Attila the Hun." And I just was dumbfounded. I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what this, you know, like." I didn't. To me, I didn't. If I didn't have respect for other people, I would say, well, I consider Attila the Hun a leftist. You know, he was a big government guy, and you know. I didn't know if I should share this, but that was kind of an inside joke. I was kind of embarrassed about the whole thing, but I kept my mouth shut and I was respectful. But if you're watching this, you're probably I think you're probably laughing too. Sorry about that. I don't know how that came up. Because we were talking about one thing led to another. I don't know, we were talking about this because the funerals in Livingston Manor, and then this fellow used to live in Livingston Manor, and then and they were talking about the history of how Livingston Manor used to be an Orthodox shul. My Rav growing up, Rabbi Belitsky, Zichron Levrach, was a big tzaddik, a very important, wonderful person. Not only my Rav, my mother's Rav, my Zayda's Rav, my Baba's Rav, my Zayda Olav Shalom. Tonight's his 20th yard site. It's hard to believe. 20 years since the Zayda moved on to the next world. There's someone else here at the funeral. There was one woman there. She said she was. I know. I shouldn't repeat this. I find it a little bit disrespectful. Not about the person, about another religion. She said, she's from a different religion. She said she doesn't understand. Here you come to a funeral and so happy. And I was like, most funerals are unhappy. It's just this was a different type of funeral, different type of family. But she's like, in our religion, by the funeral we're crying and weeping and this and that, and banging on the casket, and then when we're done we go out to eat and get drunk, and here and then but whatever. Anyway, I really want to talk, but they were very happy, and thank you. I think it's in no small part to my friends here who were watching, who were praying for me, that it should go well, and even though in my own heart I wasn't comfortable, but sometimes it's important to get out of your own comfort zone. There are two things I want to talk about today. One was, listening to things that you disagree with, because even I'm thinking myself, am I getting confused by reading things, listening to things that I disagree with? Is that changing me? Is that having an effect on me, my ideology, my religious devotion? Is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? There's a lot to talk about. Like I listened to a whole lecture from Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's a beloved figure. Everybody loves him. I don't think anybody has anything negative to say against him except the flat Earth people on Twitter. I think I want to make a video about the flat Earth subject, which is fascinating to me. But I don't want to. I'll make a video like that almost for clickbait, but I've had a lot of my clickbait quote unquote videos be flagged, and I don't get. All right, we're not going to talk about that right now, but so. What could we say? Because I make videos about how saying negative things about people who happen to have been born to Jewish ancestry but have nothing to do with Judaism today, and who are doing damaging things in the world. That's not anti-Semitic to call it. Now, if it becomes anti-Semitic, it's anti-Semitic. I don't like this term anti-Semitism because it's not. I prefer anti-Judaism, anti-Jewish. Anti-Semitic really racializes Jewish identity, which I am very uncomfortable with, because I want to religioize Jewish identity. But that kind of, this question of, like this video I saw of Neil deGrasse Tyson had a big effect on me. And one thing, he was talking about intelligent design, and he's like, oh, there's a lot of stupid design here, is what he said. And I was like, I could almost have an answer for everything that he said from a religious standpoint, that there is intelligent design. But all right, I don't want to. That's not what I want to talk about today. Although it is what I want to talk about. And what I really want to talk about was an article that I read from Shulam Deen. And people know Shulam Deen because he wrote a book about what we call in the Jewish parlance going off the derech, having lived a very strong Orthodox life and throwing it out, leaving it behind. And this Shulam Deen is a very interesting figure because his father was a very interesting figure. His father, David Deen, it's not even so clear if he was Jewish or not. He certainly claims that he was Jewish. Although there were claims that he either converted very late in life or never even converted at all. I mean, when you say late in life, he lived a very brief life. And he was a figure like, people compared, I forgot who they compared him to. They they said he was like an Augustinian chassid, like he was a person, not Augustine, there was someone else he compared to, one of the other church fathers, but a person who was a totally Hasidic person, but who was like a Hasidic Rebbe to a crowd that was, not necessarily even frum, certainly not the traditional Hasidic crowd, but he would take his Hasidim and go and daven in very frum Ehrliche shuls, like I think they mentioned Krasna, very frum Ehrliche Hungarian places, and whatever. This was the this Duvid Dean, his story is a fascinating story. It's kind of a lesson to me what not to do as someone who aspires to probably gain some of the same goals that he probably had in his life. I find him to be a fascinating person, but then he had his son who was kind of trying to fit in, having such a weirdo for a dad, and I say that as a proud weirdo. And he decided, he wanted to fit in, and he wanted to be really frum, and then he went to Square, and then got married and had a family, and then totally left everything. And he wrote an article, very long essay, that was posted online to forward. Now I have to be very careful. I don't want to pay for the forward, and so I got to be very careful about my 10 articles a month. What's the beginning of the month? Usually it's the end of the month is when I really read my articles, but this one was quite interesting. And here you had Shulam Dean writing about his atheism, to a certain extent, as well as the atheism of other people who grew up in a more Hamish environments. But despite the atheism, their love for the Hasidic culture and how he ran into a fellow who was thinking to follow in his footsteps and to leave the Hasidic community. He was walking along Shabbos in Borough Park or something, and someone came up to him and he said, Shulam, you don't know what you did for me. You opened my eyes, but you did for the whole community, and people are questioning all kinds of things. But I was thinking of up and leaving, but then I realized, look, this is the best life there is. What better life could there be than a Shabbos in Borough Park? And so, even if I question my faith, this culture is just, it's something that brings me tremendous joy. It reminds me of, there was an episode of South Park that discussed the Mormon Church, and it really just basically told the history of Joseph Smith and how he found the golden tablets, whatever, and all of that. And then Stan just got so mad at this Mormon kid and told him off, and then the Mormon kid at the end was like, you know what, you're so small-minded. Even if this is totally not true, look at how good it makes my family life. And I just want to be your friend. I wasn't trying to change you. I wasn't trying, and you just couldn't be big enough to and he said some rude comment to him, and there's something very deep about that, and questions of religion in general. That ending was probably one of the most important moments in television in a long time. I don't watch these shows anymore. I'll tell you, like, even yesterday, I don't have TV, but I do have internet, and I watch on the internet The Simpsons, the newest episode, and recently I was watching some, and The Simpsons was like my favorite show, and I remember as a teenager davening, oh please, The Simpsons should stay on TV, have new episodes bis Mashiach had come, until Mashiach comes, the Messiah comes, and it seems like that's probably the case, but the thing is, this episode I watched yesterday, it had some good jokes, whatever, here and there, but it was so offensive, and it just, I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. The Surfsons. I knew what they were trying to say, and I knew what but like, they were trying too hard. The thing with feudalism, but also just the disgusting, very just nasty, offensive things, and I've been offended before by The Simpsons, and this is just. I watched a few YouTube videos recently about The Simpsons and how they changed over the years, and how the 9th season is when it really went down, and now we're 20 seasons after that, 29 seasons. And in a way, I'm still thankful for The Simpsons, even for new episodes, but like, I don't know, maybe I'm just bitter. Maybe I'm just. I knew yesterday my mental state was not. When I got home and everything, it just wasn't what it should be. And then I wanted to go put up the sukkah. And the sukkah I have is going to be very easy to put up. It'll take me 10 minutes. But I can't find twine or zip ties or anything to hold up the tarps, and I'm nervous now. I have to go work in the Bronx, and I don't know, I'm very bothered by what happened in Las Vegas. But let's put that aside. And I've been making a point not to make any comments about it at all. I don't want any politics connected with this, and even trying to keep away from conspiracy theories and everything. At least for now, until we know a little bit more. And even then, what difference does it make? At this point, what difference does it make, right? Hillary Clinton said, right? Apparently, she's not saying that now. Alright, I'm not talking politics, right? So, but just I was fascinated by this article. It was kind of this article from Shulam Dean, it's kind of 2 in 1. Because he's talking about his own experiences with heresy in the Hasidic world, and then he was talking about a book by what's the fellow's name from Queen's College? Not Egon Mayer. He passed away. His Mamala Mokum. He's a frum guy. I don't remember his name. I used to know his name. Professor at Queen's College who wrote a bunch of books. So he wrote a book about several Hasidic dynasties and their succession battles. Samuel Heilman, is that his name? So it's kind of 2 very different subjects in one, which he kind of brings together. But anyway, Shulam writes about this. Shulam Dean, he writes about this, and he writes about, like I said, heresy in the Hasidic world, and how many people are deciding to just stay in the Hasidic world, stay in the culture, and drop the religion. I don't know how many people are really like that. I think everybody, to a certain extent, deals with that in their own way. I mean, I know I feel very strongly that I'm really a believer, that I really believe the Torah is true, and I don't believe that Hasidic Judaism is the only true Judaism. What I do believe is that I don't even believe that Hasidic Judaism necessarily works for me in a perfect way, but what I like is the Hungarian approach to Hasidic Judaism, which is not really that Hasidic. It has a lot of the culture of Hasidism without and the spirituality of Hasidism without the ideology of Hasidism. It's a much more rationalistic approach, which most people will be shocked to hear, because they think, oh, those are the crazy people because they oppose the state of Israel or whatever. And the fact of the matter is, they're the most down-to-earth, normal people you ever meet. It's true, it's really true that, in a way, and I don't mean this, Zionism is really weird. It's not normal. To me, it just doesn't fit in to what Judaism is all about. It's like grabbing onto some anachronistic, strange, and the funny thing is how, like, people are like, oh, these are the anachronists, these are the old-fashioned ones, when the thing is in a certain way, in an authentic way, I feel that the Satmar community are the most progressive people that I can think of, because they're not. Now, there are extremists, crazy Kanoim, who are mostly like mentally ill people. They're not, and dealing in a loving and caring way with mentally ill people as my ministry, as my career at the moment that I love. I have a lot of sympathy and empathy for them, but it's clear that the more extreme elements have something wrong with them, and that's not the mainstream. The mainstream are just officially, and the fact of the matter is like, going to these protests and things like that, they're more about an activity that's fun than they are about really any ideology, even though I agree with the ideology. But it's just, but I want to put that, I haven't been to a protest like this since 2006, Pesach, Chol Pesach. I remember going to a demonstration in Manhattan. It was actually a date with my wife, and she loved it. It's just remembering. Is this where I get off? I'm probably running out of memory now. But the thing is that I really want to get into a different subject about atheism within the religious communities. Now, I myself, in the hospital where I serve, I not only do a Jewish group, but I do a spirituality group. And in the spirituality group, we talk about how do we define spirituality. As far as the state, that's how I always introduce it. How does the state define spirituality for a spirituality group? And the answer I have is, not that I have, but the state gives, is whatever makes your life meaningful. the right exit? I think there's another exit. I have to go after this. So whatever makes your life meaningful, that's what spirituality is. And in that way, everything is spiritual. And so can you be spiritual without being religious? And even being a total skeptic? Being an atheist? Yes, absolutely. But the thing is, can we then, through that, find God again? Meaning, after venturing into the world of skepticism, can we have that idea of Imesach Shemayim Shamato, Vatziyash Ol Hineka? If I go up to heaven, you are there. If I descend down to hell, you are there. That's what it says in the Psalms, Psalm 139, I think. Or maybe it's a different psalm, I don't remember. But the point being, like, what are we accomplishing? What, are, in a way, when we examine skepticism, when we examine atheism, I believe we can get to a deeper understanding of God. Of course, when it comes to God, since He's infinite, you cannot even ever scratch the surface. But I think in a certain way, atheism, and examining and searching through atheism could be a positive spiritual thing and bring you closer to God, because like Reb Nachman Breslover once told the atheist, the God you don't believe in, I don't believe in either. Meaning, I don't believe in the guy in the Gary Larson cartoons, making snakes because he ran out of clay. That I don't believe in. So there you go. I'm just about out of time. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment. Meaning, I remember the Ordensteipler Rebbe from Flatbush. He was at a conference I was at. He said, he said when he was a kid in Telz Yeshiva, they used to throw out water balloons. He's like, you got to make God balloons and throw out all the nonsense that you believe about God and realize that God is your Father who loves you. All right. Almost out of memory. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. Be well. Take care.